much everything on here is going to be rebuilt or replaced. Transmission's fine, but obviously it's going to be new clutch. Transfer case and all that works. It's going to be all gone through. So I'm not going to run the old Army bias plies after it's all fixed. We're probably going to run something else on these wheels. Alright, I'll start on the floor after this all dries up, and we'll go back on the side, cut part of the old rotted rocker off. And if you look up here, there's more spray foam. Just sat the floor pieces in for now. Obviously we gotta grind all that down and then fit the shading floor properly, cut the back side of the floor out, back down there, and get that in. I've got the new rockers, and I got the new cab corner, I've got a new pillar coming. The plan is to finish gutting out the floor. I got lots of big dog spray foam there. So I'm going to cut this whole section here out. Put the new floor panel that I've got sitting right there in. Today's plan is to wash this whole motor off daily tonight when it's not 190,000 degrees out. I'll start cleaning up this floor, grinding all the metal down, finding out what's good, not good, and replacing on it as fast as possible. We got to make a new floor bracer back there. I made one there. It's not the best, but it's better than what wasn't there. I got to put one up there. I put sheet metal screws in just to suck things close together, and then I packed it. I'm going to cut that piece off there, make a new one, and more in there, weld it there. Here we had sat some pieces in. We're going to remove all that and this whole section up here. Once that's done, then I can treat the floor. I mean, up to the floor's welded, and then I can cleaned up. Then we can put all the finishing touches on this. We can get a rocker for there. This side here is not so badish, but I'm going to fix it up. For some reason, they put a piece of tin here that doesn't belong there. That's coming off. We clean up the floor back here. We're going to clean up all this here. I'm going to fix all these cab mounts. I'm going to fix them up anyway. Well, straighten them up, weld them up. Sprayed some oven cleaner on here to get the grease to pop loose. And then we'll see how we end up from there. Alright, let's take it and bring the floor. Initially we cut it out thinking we were good, and then we set the floor bins in and butt weld it. And I realized as I started buffing it up, the floor was disappearing. Yeah, it would be easier to find another cab if you could find an 81 and up cab, but then it's not the same truck, it's different in numbers, etc., etc. And the point of rebuilding the truck is to rebuild what you have if possible. I believe this is still saleable. We're going to order whatever we can find that we can make fit for this truck for floor bracing. They don't make it for this truck, everything you got to make it for yourself, other than floor pans and rockers and stuff like that. I'm not going to the States to buy a cab. There's other trucks out there. They're 80 and older, and it's not my dad's old truck, right? So that's why we're redoing this one. It looks like crap now. When it's done, it'll be done properly. It won't look like a scrapyard recipient. This truck, when it was sold in the 90s, didn't look like this. It was mint. My dad had restored it, hired a guy to do it, painted it at a shop. Unfortunately now it was badly abused, so we have to badly unabuse it. Alright, I'm gonna get ready to blast this with the Blast-O-Matic knife now. Alright, so we get a quick grind down the wire wheel. Just getting into the rust converter, and then tomorrow we'll finish the welding on the driver's side. Two floor braces, another patch up there, and weld that in, and then we'll start I just got the E-pillar in too, so that's going to be going in not today, but soon-ish. Quite a bit to do here yet, so we'll get to that as soon as we can. But first priority is this side, finish that off on the lower part, and then over here, put a piece up there across, and yeah, that'll be that, I believe. And some seal it all goodish, and load the cabinet apart. Alright, so we got that side patched up. And I've got to go focus up there and repair that. A lot of this truck was pretty rotted, but trying to find a cab or team one of them is just about impossible. So we're having to fix what we have. A lot of parts we bought from PJs. Might look rough now, but once I grind it, it won't look so bad. Then I've got the back of the cabinet fixed. Then we can start on the fun stuff, like putting another brace right there, and then repairing the top of the cabinet, the screws and the holes together, until I get up there and grind the rod out and lock some new pieces in. Obviously it's a lot of work. You can probably appreciate body shops. We're not a body shop here, we're just a hobby. So yeah, we got a lot of cleanup to do. Can't take the windshield out till after the cab's sitting back down. tiny rust. And then I've got to run it all the way down to the back. Lucky me, plastic tube supply is really needed. Then we'll go to the front of the truck. And then after that, I've got the rubber brake lines stuff in there. And put all that in. Hopefully I can save the proportioning valve. I think I can. And it's going to be awful if I can't save it. I'd have to find out Amazon, eBay's got ones for half ton. And I'll have to look out see if I can find one. I don't want to do it yet. Just want to spot brake lines. Alright. So we run the brake lines. You can see that right there. Brand spanking new brake lines. It's the plastic tube. I got to put the hanger back on that side with the new brake line there. We run it to the back, way over there. And there's this issue that I'm going to need a reunion. Join the two brake lines together because one's missing. Never got the fitting to join the two lines together. Because originally it's all one solid line under there. When I have the cab sitting on the frame, then I can put the back in. I think the next step is going to be get rid of all these moldy fuel lines. The brake lines, there's a lot of them I put my hands on, they just kind of fell off the back. So that'll be object number 2. Alright, we'll get back to the short video ones tomorrow. Peace. We've got new brake lines here. Put that one on. I have to do that side there. And then once it's all done, I gotta take the wheels off and do the others. I'm not going to do the very back of the truck until the cab forward after get this monstrosity of a transmission out and put a new clutch in. And then here we have a new clutch. Clean up the cab structure and find out what to do. And then we started to do some repair at the back there. Just to get that side to do. And then we have all the wheels to cut out over. We did pick up another cab. I just have to actually physically pick it up and pop into the cab. We'll start motion. Alright, so brake lines are on. Obviously I've got to drill out one piece there because one bolt broke. And then clean up in there, top 5. Those are done. ones I had were too rough. I can fix those up. Here's one of the fenders, and over there are the other two parts. Did some repair priming, some repairs, and some priming. Obviously we got to put more to do yet. Then I'm gonna start on the back of the cab. Probably not today, it'll be later today, or it'll be tomorrow. That's that for now. Stay tuned. Alright, good. Almost morning, it's almost over. Good morning. I'm going to be cutting all these cap corners today. And I think I'm going to beat the flange back there. And then cut it there. I'm going to remove this rotted B-pillar. Nice and low here. That's going to go all the way up. Cut it through there. And then get the rocker panel off, which is pretty much as close as it gets. Alright, so I'll get set up. Alright, we've got updates. I was trying to save that piece, but I think that piece is going to get food guard somewhere else. And I'm going to make a piece for that. Then I have to dig all that extra spray foam out of there. Isn't that just great? Yeah, that's what I thought too. Anyways, never spray foam your vehicles, guys. I'll show you where we're at after we cut this last bit of rod. Alright, so as you can see, there's a bit of rot there we gotta fix. So I'm gonna get that done right now, and then I'm gonna get the rockers, which are a little bit different shape than I expected, but whatever, we'll make it work. Alright, so I repaired the inner rocker, and I just sat this in place with some vice grips to give myself a visual. Obviously there's a lot of vision. And some fat here. And then I gotta grind like crazy right there, as well as back there, of course. But for tonight, that's a wrap. I'm gonna pay myself overtime. Alright, so the rocker's placed on. Put the seam seal on, do a little bit of welding to do. Then I'll cut and fit that piece. Then I'll put the cab corner. Then the more enjoyable stuff can start. And I'll be back to you shortly. Alright, so I roughed in the cab corner. Still quite a bit left to do. that. Unfortunately, they come pre-cut and fit between there. So there's always a gap. You have to add a piece. It sucks. And then when you get it nice and straight, it still doesn't quite line up with the back, so you gotta do that. And then I gotta finish this part of the front here. Again, it's been panel bonded. And you have to trim it down, of course, and do a few things. Hello, welcome back to Canadian Haywire. Just going to bring you into what we're doing on the truck this week. Finally, I took a break for the winter. So what I had to do was take a break because of my work. I'm working out of province. What we're going to be doing today is we're running the rest of the brake lines and probably wire wheeling the underside of the frame so I can get that painted. And then the cab's bolted down now. And then we're going to finish the body work on the cab today, probably tomorrow. I'll get it roughed in anyways. There's a lot to do on this thing. And then hopefully after that's done, we can start looking at finishing the inner fenders, bolting those on, and then moving forward. I'll just take you for a tour of what we're doing here. Left with one of the old brake lines. There's the new stuff. I'm not interested in saving the old junk if I don't have to. I'm going to clean up the battery tray. Obviously we got some more cleanup to do there. Lots of cleanup under there. I did finally get this piece here delivered from Team Jeep Wagoneer, which will be going on soon. Then we're going to pull that rotted brake line off. I just ordered brake drums. So we're going to set the lines in place today. And then we're going to carry on with the back of the cab. We've got it sitting down on its cab mountings there. Yeah, there's quite a bit to do yet. We haven't really decided on the color, but our plan is to finish bolting this down, do the repairs on the other brake line, and then I'll finish doing the interior of the truck. I'm going to sand that all down and prime it. Then I got to pop this windshield out once I can confirm I can get a windshield for it, so that we can take this dashboard out and put a new one. Alright, so I got the wheels off. That was a chore. I don't think they've been off in many years, especially the outside. If you look at the bolts there, somebody's obviously done something here before, because those U-bolts from the top of the nuts have been cut off. Or you've got a couple nuts here. So, something tells me I'm going to change that piece. I'll be dropping the U-bolts and putting brand new U-bolts. That's something I got to look at. Then I got to pull this whole brake line off. That'll come out of there with nothing. Then I got a wire wheel over here and change these shocks today after I take the thing. But yeah, at least it won't be as disgusting as it was. At least the frame's solid, other than this one spring here. When this happens, we just keep it on through there. Just keep the vehicles dirty, keep things clean, and that's what caused all that rot to happen. I don't know how the guy, it used to be my dad's first, and then the guy my dad bought it off my dad, obviously did it after. That was his choice at the time, so we are going to unmess it up, clean it up, and then hopefully carry on with the body. Alright, so I roughed in the brake lines, wire wheeled the frame down, cleaned it up, then I did some sand, of course, got all the crap all over the truck. Anyhow, so next step is to pull these brake lines off, and then since the brake drums components come in, I will pop all that mess off from there. And everything's really hard to get at on this thing. I'm calling it thing with regards to the vacuum plate and all that stuff. So that's going to be best times ever. Said nobody ever. Get that done. Then I'll finish repainting the dip cover. Then I'll put the exhaust in there. Then Bob's your uncle. Back at her again. Sanding, cleaning up, get that part changed by next Sunday. So we'll be back at it. Alrighty, good morning. So today we are going in to replace these shocks. I'm going to put the wheels onto the brake drums and put them arrive. And then I'm going to get focused on the cab, bolting it down properly on the one side, making sure it's level, and
So I decided to take the brake drum off on the driver's side just to see what we're looking at. And well, I don't think it was a leaky brake sleeve cylinder. I'll show you. So what we've got here is gear oil. And that means when the brakes is all fine and dandy. However, it also means axle seal and God knows what else. Alright, so I did some work to the back of the cab, roughing it in. There's still a lot of sanding to do. But just for tonight, I just did some sanding and some repair. I gotta go on the other side. There's some dolly work to do there. And then tomorrow I'll finish all this up here. And it should just be great after that. No, it won't. But yeah, that's where we're at now. I'll put the final touches to it tomorrow, make it all nice and smooth. And then I can move forward. Alright, so last time we chatted, we were going to work on the roof and some work on the floor of the Jeep Jalopy. Anyways, I'll just show you what's been. Did some more work on the rockers. We got a little bit more work to do on there. Finished straightening that out. And then we went up on the roof and pounded the dents out. There was many dents. Put some filler, still got to sand it more. You can see that in the very, very light coat and primer that we put on there. I have to put the real primer on. This isn't the good primer yet. Stuffed that off where the handles were. We got to fill those. But yeah, before it was all dented and punched down. Did a lot of dolly work to pop it up, and then very light coat of filler, which I have to sand a bit more yet. And then I think, that'll be good for that. And then we just got to do some more work in the cab. Just got to finish all that off, and then we're going to paint the inside of the cab once the windshield is out of there. Pull the steering column, gauge cluster, the old-fashioned set deck, and then prime it and paint the inside crushed orange, and the outside is going to go crushed orange, heavy metallic. That's what we finally decided on the color. Yeah, we start sanding that door down. It's going to use those two ugly tenders, but I think I'll use the two I fixed last year. Hopefully tomorrow I can have the inside of the cab primed and the outside completely primed by Sunday. Alright, that's all for now. Sanding to do. I got a little bit of finish over on this side right here, and then I'll put a very thin skin coat back over with the better sandpaper and smooth it out. Yeah, this next day's off. I will finish that off. I gotta wash inside the cab, and then sand it down, and I guess then we can pull the windshield out and finish priming the hell out of it and clean up these high spots here and finish those off, and the truck should be much happier. We'll all be happier. And then we can put it all in primer, paint the firewall, paint the rad support, the inner fenders, put them on. The inside of the cab will be done. Hopefully, I just got the bearings for the axle. Hopefully, I can get this piece replaced here on my next shift. My buddy's got one on an old frame sitting at his brother's farm. So we'll get that cut off and replaced since they don't make this piece. But like I thought they did, they make that piece. They don't make the other piece. afternoon. Welcome back to Canadian Haywire. So today I'm going to be working on the roof a little bit more of my Jeep J20. And then I'm going to work on the outside of the firewall and then quickly sand the interior down, the roof and the back wall, to try to get that part ready for primer. And then I've got to strip the steering column out, take the dash cluster out on the old worn out Panasonic cassette deck that my brother put in there years ago, get the handle off and sand that down, sand the steering column down so we can paint it, and start trying to get this cab ready to go completely into primer. And then I'll be focusing on the door next. But for today, we'll start by working on the roof. All right. I got some flaws here to finish. I mean, it's pretty straight, but yeah, there's a bit of work to do there. A bit of work to do on the top side corner, the cab corner, bottom of the cab corner. I mean, got to finish sanding along here, and then I'm gonna get this Tuscan material, sand it down and primed. A little harder now that I've got to sand it down with the frame, but we will get it. We always do. And sand all this stuff out, clean it, prime it. I'll mask the windshield off for now so I'm ready to pull it. It does have to come out. Unless we go to the cab and that will come out. But we got some work to do along the back here yet. It's pretty good, but it's not good enough. I'm going to leave these clips on because they look like they're, if I take them off, I don't know if I can replace them. This truck is so hard, it's hard to get parts for. If this was a Ford, Chevy, or Dodge, I'd have the truck done already. It's been a challenge. I can replace all the leaf spring hangers except for these. These I have to fabricate these, either I fabricate or I can fabricate these new ones. I'm just trying to find the dimensions of it. This is a blueprint I can follow, or I'll have to measure it all myself. Alright, let's start sanding. Alright, I don't know what the smell is in this cab, but it smells like, stale, moldy Leo and dirty chip socks, and like somebody rubbed their rubber dirt boots on the ceiling and stuff. You just can't get it out of it. So this is the other thing we gotta do. We gotta clean all the windows. Once that dash pad's out, and I put another dash pad in, hopefully sanding all this will paint off. I gotta clean that whatever that is on that window off right quick here. And then sand up there. I mean, you can see it's no longer pushed in, which is great. Now I gotta sand it all and prime it. That's gonna take a little bit of work. But I'm gonna finish cutting the rest of the inside of this cab out. At least it has a floor now, something it didn't have. Then I can find out where to get the floor plugs and cap that. And then I gotta put as soon as this dash is all sanded down and painted, then I can put the gear shifter back on. The floor will be painted again. And then the doors on, paint the inside of the door. That door there is probably going to be going to the dumpster. I don't think I'm trying to fix it. I kind of do, but I kind of don't. It's kind of had a bad day in East Harlem. But I'm going to finish up here, sand this right now, clean the window first. See if that helps me get not off the smell. Yeah. Alright, stay with me and I'll keep you going as I progress here. Alright, so there's still a slight divot there, and then there's a bit of a divot here. This is where the ball punched right down. There's a bit more dolly work to do here, and some more sanding to do it. Prime over the door so you can see what I'm doing. Of course I can scratch this as well, and I'm going to sand it down a lot more yet. But just to show where we're at, this is one of the worst spots, and this is the other best spot. Right here. So I'm going to tap that up and then try to shrink it a bit. Over there looks good, obviously. I'm going to have to sand it down to check. A little more sanding to do along here. Where we fill the hole. I did clean the back window. You know what? It doesn't smell so bad anymore. And inside all that stuff up there was all full of, outdoor life. Yeah. Then I'm going to sand this one more time in here tomorrow and then prime it. Alright, I just threw some quick pry bar to see any high spots I missed. Alright, welcome back to another day. So today we put a new we rebuilt the leaf spring hanger so that we can actually start to go forward. I'll just show you the rebuild. We have to shoot one more open at the bottom, that way the mud can just clean out and never get dirt in there, it won't rot anymore. Now I can actually proceed with finishing brake lines and doing the important stuff on this truck. I'm going to go ahead and do a nice clean up, tighten that bolt up, and start proceeding forward with getting this cab ready to be driven. Okay, well, as you can see, that's all painted up. I've done some more work on the cab quite a bit of ways to go. I just primed off around the edges of the windows, put paper on. I'm going to try to get this done tonight, but right now I've got a big ass nasty storm coming through, so that's where I'm at right now. If I don't get to it tonight, I'll be back in 2 weeks. Alright, I'm going to try priming the back of the cab and the inside of the cab. I bought this high build primer, so we'll try it out. Just show you this gun we're about to try to use. Really not a fan of this gun, and I have a love-hate relationship. I have other guns, but I figured I'd give this one a shot just for the primer. Alright, let's see how it goes. Alright, so the first coat of primer is on. Now I can see all the flaws that I gotta fix. I use this high build stuff I've never used before. Wow, it sure plugs up when you've done it with the wrong tip. I'm gonna hit it with one more coat. Probably when I get back in 2 weeks, I'm gonna get a different gun. It was plugging up pretty fast. Anyways, it is coming along. Once it dries, if I decide I have time tonight, I'll put the second coat down. But this is just the first coat. Alright. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and my next day's off, I'll probably get a hell of a lot more done. Alright, welcome back to me and Haywire. Thanks for following us on this Jeep. Today we're going to do the rear brakes. So we've got the new parts right there. Just jacked up the side. This is the bad side, so we'll pull this off. Try to get all the gear oil out of there. Starting the drums, the oil shoes, and new stuff. As you can see, it's been leaking oil for some time there. So I'll be changing the bearing seals, the whole works. First I'll remove this brake drum, which I've already loosened once before, so it'll come off hopefully easy. So as you can tell, they left us with this for a long time. The guy we got it from cut the rear brake lamps leaking. It wasn't a brake cylinder leaking, but so first step, I'm going to pull this axle up, and then I'm going to soak everything down, loosen the nut off of there, and begin the slow process of going through all this. I'm not a fan of rear brakes, but they gotta be done. So I have this housing off. Like I was saying, I took a break yesterday because I was feeling great. I'm going to clean all this out before I take it apart. Snap a picture so I know what goes where, when, who, and how. Hopefully the parts I bought match up. It's pretty gross, but we'll make it clean. Alright, the worst side is it's all apart. I got a lot of cleaning to do here. It's pretty bad. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get that off that shoe to put it on the other one. Doesn't look like it's gonna come off. I'm gonna go back to the parts store and see if they can figure out if they got a set that has it on these ones, because you can't just simply, well, you just can't simply just throw parts on that you don't have something connected with. Okay, so I've cleaned it up, gave it a shot of paint, put the new brake cylinder on. I did the new brake line right there too. I pulled this whole thing off, wire wheeled it. It was the best way to do this. Trying to get between the leaf spring and the bolts, it's not fun. So we took it off. Now I have to wait for the proper parts to come in, because the place where I bought my parts match up, except they're missing a little bar in there for the e-brake cable. Excuse me. So they also sold me the wrong wheel cylinders. They can't get the parts for a Dana 60. They can only get for Dana 44 for these Jeep trucks. I gotta see what it cross references over to and go from there. For now, we are just gonna continue on with the body work after I do a bit of a cleanup in this messy little place. And I'm gonna wrap this shaft up and seal it. Then I'll start on that thing after I get the parts in, probably by Friday. Today is Sunday. It's a nice day out. I could probably go boating for a while. Anyways, I'll be back shortly. All right, welcome back. Today we're back to sanding the cab. Hopefully get to shoot the inside of the cab not too far off. I just got a windshield for the truck. I got to pick it up tomorrow over in Alberta. I'll show you what we're doing here. Excuse me. So I'm back at the brakes today. Yes, I worked on the cab the other day and then I went boating. So now I'm on this. I don't think the seal was a problem at all. No. Maybe just a little. Anyways, we're going to pull this apart. I'll try to get the number for that seal. Pull the bearings out, see if I can get this little part shop ordered right away, since I can't find this truck in the system. So I have this all apart. Trying to get the seal is sure going to be interesting. The parts store is going to order it for me. That'll be in the morning. Not the easiest part to find, even though it references back to early Chevys. Anyways, I'm getting this cleaned up. The parts will be in the morning. For now, I'll focus on finishing these brakes over here and starting on that side. So I'm taking the second side apart just for reference. As you can watch, all the dirt falling out of here. Oh, that sounds really good. Alright, so I'm going to take this one off. I'm going to find the screws that are in here and loosen them off. Oh, there's one right there. Alright, so I got the brakes on. Unfortunately, I didn't film putting it together because it created a whole new vocabulary that was not suitable for YouTube. Yeah, these springs are tough. Everybody says. Just awful. So I'm going to tighten that nut up, put the lock thingy in there, and the other nut against it. And then I'll clean up the brake drum and shove that on. I've already fit it. I unfortunately had to use the new slack adjuster. I'm going to still try to save the original one and get it freed up. That's the problem when things sit for a long time. And then I've got to, can't get this gasket here at my local store, so I will have to source one out or fix it and silicone it. Okay, so I have this back together. You'll notice how you have to use the old springs. None of the new springs actually reach. They're smaller. Not the same spring at all, so I had to reuse what I had. I'm going to try the brake drum on. And the new brake drums are not good. As you can see, there's stuff there. They're not quite the same diameter as the holes. Really sucks. I'm going to have to clean the old one and take it down to the parts store so they can eyeball match this crap. So as you can see, the original, now that I've cleaned it, fits perfectly. Unfortunately, I'm not planning to reuse it if I can avoid it. I'm just going to load them in the truck and take them down to the park. So I couldn't clean up, make the old one fit, or the new ones fit, so I cleaned the old one, I shoved it on for now. This truck's not moving until I get the new brake drums anyways, and I have to put the truck back together before it's ever going to be mobile again, so that means, you know, put the cab and stuff back together. I'm going to go start on the other side. The set screws are like seized in there. That's going to be best kind. So I'm soaking the set screws for tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to try pounding the hell out of them. I just tried it with my impact scooter and it did nothing. So I tried heat, that did nothing. I'm going to try some other stuff tomorrow. First of all, let's sit with some good lubricants. Alright, Alright, so I got the passenger side apart. You know, it's not nearly as bad as the other side by even 5%. I mean, this still has shoes left on the things here. I'm gonna pop this side apart, and then I gotta get this housing here off so I can paint it and get that old cylinder off there and replace that today. And hook the brake line to that son of a gun. And put the new shoes on. That should be a lot easier than the other side. Alright, so the passenger side brake shoes are on, springs are in. If you look over here, I routed the brake line under, or initially it was up to the top. That's not a good spot for it to be. You know what, it's probably got anything. So I routed it that way. Next day's off, I'll finish connecting them up over here. For the time being, I'm going to put the drum back on until the new drums arrive, and I'm going to drill the hole out for the two screws out of the other hub there, as the ARCs did. So I took an emery cloth wheel, cleaned up the inside. It wasn't grooved, thankfully. It was just full of rust. Give it a quick splash of paint, just keep the rust off it. When the new drums come in, I'll be changing that, and the bearings and seals on this side, and the new drum on the other side. You gotta watch when you order your hardware. Sometimes the springs that come are not the right springs, or they're too small. They'll send you one for a half ton. I want it specific to the 3/4 ton. I don't want to start overstretching things, so I reuse a lot of the old hardware for now. I'm just gonna put the axle back in, put the wheel on, and then that'll do it for this one. I'll just put the axle back in. So I tighten the top one and the bottom one first. And I'll go over this one. I saved the old metal piece. Alright, so I'm just remasking the windows. The rock guard at the bottom of the cab is where I think it needs to be. I'm going to wipe all that down. And then I'm going to hit it with primer again and see where I'm at. But I do have all the oil coming out of it. There's a lot of work. Came down and fixed that up there. So now I'm going to finish masking and I'm going to wipe this truck up. Alright, it's back in primer. Primer started flashing on me on the other side, so I gotta sand it down again. Something's a real pain to work with. But it's on there. You can see where it's starting to flash a little bit on top. Basically tried as it was hitting the truck, so maybe less hardener. Anyways, so that's all primed again. I'll clean the guns right up and sand it and do it again. So, give it another sanding real quick here. Got the orangey peeling shit off. Found some more flaws. Just sanded down there. I gotta blow the cab off yet, but you know, I can give it a quick sanding here. I got some other stuff I gotta do today, and then I'll be back on this evening and finishing it off and priming it one last time. I see a little spot there to fix yet. And then we're gonna start with the doors. Woo, can't wait. No, I can't wait. I'm gonna pull the windshield up first, I think. That's the biggest thing. And get that dash off, get the steering column out, pull the cluster out, sand it all down, paint it. Everything in here will be painted. Then I can put the dash back on after we try to recover this or save this dash. My dad put this furry stuff on it in the 90s. It's really broke it. Just leaves a mess. Anyways, yeah. And then hopefully fireable. Alright, so yesterday, it's the next day right now, I primed the cab and this primer flashed off really fast and it started to orange peel on me on the other side. I'll show you in a second. Okay, so it came out looking like rock guard, which, you know what, it is what it is. I'm going to sand this down, and then sand and smash on this thing, and see where it goes. All right, I got the guns cleaned up. It was a real chore. Anyways, this is the last bit of building up on the roof up here. Then I got some more sanding to do. Tomorrow night, re-prime this son of a gun, and then out comes this whole interior. So next task, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get this undone. Get this window rolled back up. See what the hell that even does. And then, yeah, try and get that out so I can put one from another door in there. Maybe try to pop it there. That's the big panel there. Recoverable. Well, it is. So much do I want to do. Alright, it's going to be that or I'm going to be switching first. So today I'm going to loosen this off so I can get this door latch thing out. And then I'm going to try to fix that. So as you can see, I've got this back on. I've got it hooked up in here, and the door lock's hooked up there, but I did not put the door key thing in there yet. I still have to do a bit of work there. Our next job is going to be pop this window up and take the one from that door. So as you can see, I'm starting to get it into place. It's on its track. Thank God for that. I've got to install this piece which goes over here, and then I will take the wing window down. So when you put this part back together, remember that this is slotted. So one washer will have a slot on it, and it goes on before that. Alright, so the wing window with the broken handle is out. You know, I could drill these rivets out and then pop this out and then take it that way. I might, we'll see. First things first, I'm going to try to get that one. So initially I was going to use this door because everything was good on it. I believe those are factory Jeep speakers, those are coming out. I got to get out to get at that. First thing I'm going to do is roll the window down. I'm going to take this doodad trim off and see what happens from there. So I just dropped the other one. I'm going to move this part back here so that I can line that there glass up. But that'll be it for tonight. I'll be back at it in the morning. And I'll hammer this back together nicely. Then we can start cleaning up this door here and sanding it. And prepping it for primer, masking all that off in there. I'll straighten out this little whippy do here, right there. And then I'll sand it, prime it. And then I've got to fix this original denting. And it's doable. It's quite doable. Not excited about it, but I was going to use these doors. That's not going to happen because of the difference of the door strings. Yeah, door strings. And that's not really good with me. Fortunately, 1980 and up, they have a bigger plate. I don't understand why it won't line up, but that's just bizarre. Okay, well, back at it again tomorrow. So I also just changed the regulator on this door, which was broken. I wasn't going to reuse this door. I was going to go to this door, but it's 70 and older, and trying to line up the bolt holes is just going to be a pain in the rear. So I stole this window regulator because mine was rotten. It's rotted right out, as you can see. And it was broken, and it just wasn't working anymore. So it's gone. I'm going to try to fix this door. I have a door skin for the lower half. Because I have big holes here, so that'll be all cut off. I'm going to first try to dolly all that out. ground it in place and weld it. I just painted it up in here a few minutes ago. It's dry already. I'll get started and see how it works. Alright, I think I got it, so I'm going to quickly throw some primer on this and on this door. See what, that way I can see where I'm at with them. Alright, so the first coat of primers on these doors actually didn't come out too bad. I mean, not as clumpy as the last time we did it, but it does tend to spew out chunks. So you gotta really pay attention to what you're doing. I got the back of my rad support primed, and I primed the back of the cab again. It puts out the paint way faster. Yeah, I'm just gonna finish what I'm doing. Get the last part of the cab, and then that'll be it for tonight. Alright, welcome back to Canadian Haywire. Today we are going to pull out the dash. I just pulled the windshield out. I'll show you the mess. That is god awful. Still has some of the paint my dad put on there. 89.90. It could be worse, but I'm going to vacuum all this crap up. I saved the trim. I had to cut the rubber because the rubber was toast. It was so hard. Anyways, I'm going to get cleaning this up right now. Alright, so the windshield's out. It's a T30 Torx. This is what it took to get these out. On the internet they're saying 10 mil, now it's a T30. With a little washer on it right here. These are going to have to be soaked in oil, cleaned up, and then use the vacuum on to put the dash in. If I put the dash in. So they don't show you in videos. There's a nut up there you gotta get to get this ashtray thing in, because right in the middle here, there is another bolt. So let's get started on that. Okay, so next update. What a pain in the ass this truck is. I took the speaker out because there is a bolt right there that I can't get at because of the speaker. It just makes life so great, doesn't it? Anyways, I gotta get this nut off of here, wherever it is. It's right up. Right there. Anyways, ratchet kept getting stuck on the magnet, so I had enough. So that's gonna come out now, and then I can move on there, and then I can get back to this part where this one is just simply not willing to work with me today. Alright, I got the dash out. What I'm paying, the springs were real, let's put it that way. There's some wiring in here that doesn't belong in this truck. Obviously, I mean, like, Jesus. That obviously belongs there, but there's a bunch of speaker wire. So I gotta figure out what the hell it's all going to. Get rid of it, get it out of there. That'll be coming up real quick. First, I gotta vacuum all this off, and then I gotta sand it all, make a big ass mess. Fix up there. And then maybe, well, I'm gonna clean all that up too. That's a given. And then hopefully get this cabin the sealer today and paint the inside of the cab. That's got to get done because winter's coming and I need this shit done. All right, be right back. Hi. All right. So I just finished sanding the dash down. Giving it a quick shot of black primer. I gotta give it more coats, obviously. I think it'll clean up, and then I can seal it with some real primer, real heavy duty primer. After I get a couple little flaws to fix like up there. And then vacuum up the truck again. It's real hard to keep it clean inside because all this dirt, dauber crap, mud wasp, whatever you want to call them. Anyways, I'm gonna get back to what I was doing. And hopefully we can finish peeling this crap off down here. Whatever that is. It's like many years worth. And that'll be that. Then I can splash it. Well, I got a few things to do before I get started. One is to do a big cleanup in here. Put a bit more primer down last night. It actually looks much better. I didn't want to half-ass this stuff. Give that a bit of a wet sand. Then I'll hit some into some interior to paint it today. And blow the roof off. I'm just debating if I want to put the sealer on the cab first or vice versa. All right. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. On the cab after I splash the firewall and do a little bit of cleanup around the window trim, and then work on the doors and hang the doors. And you know, it didn't turn out too bad. I mean, the bottom down here, I got to work on a bit more, but now I got primer on it and actually see what the problem is. For using primer I had in storage for a few years. I believe it still worked. Alright, we'll be back for the next stuff for tomorrow. Alright, good morning. So today I'm going to finish tackle offing the interior of this cab. Lord willing, I'm going to fix that tape job. That's god awful. There's no way to learn anyway. I'm going to do that. I'm going to paint this interior this morning. I'm hoping to do the firewall, which will happen today as well, and the inner fenders in the back of the front grille support thing, whatever they call it. Anyways, that's my plan for right now. Alright, so here we are. I gave it a quick splash. I mean, I got more to do yet, obviously. But it is painted, so that looks 100 times better than it did when I got this thing out from the guy that had it in the field for 20 plus million years. I got it from the guy that got it from the field. It is coming along. It looks a lot nicer, better than that awful brown that had faded and rotted, and the yellowy tan, and all that stuff. Anyways, this is a burnt orange. There'll be a little bit of cleanup to do in here, but I think overall it's a million times better. We got to put the flooring stuff down. I didn't really need to paint the floor, but I did anyway, so I wasted a bunch of paint there. Anyways, I might put another coat on after just for the hell of it, make it even nicer. But that is where we are at with that. Next thing to do today is the firewall. Okay, so I'm just hitting the firewall with burnt mango. Pretty much the same as burnt orange. Some extra paint I had. Anyways, I'm hitting that off with that. First time in 3 years it's got doors. Gotta align them yet, but what the heck? I'll get there. So, welcome back to Canadian Haywire. Tonight we're, fixing up the dash, painting a few other parts that I'll be putting on the truck tomorrow. I'll show you what we've done to the dash. We got all the ugly fuzzy stuff off, and I used the color match to put it back to being tan. Obviously where the speaker cover is, I'm going to put a cover over that. We sanded it, and then we primed it with vinyl primer. And we gave it a it's still wet and it's gonna dry and all that jazz, and then I can put another coat on it. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, good morning, or almost afternoon. So I've been working on the steering wheel right now. I'm gonna clean it up. I'm not using the steering wheel. I don't know what's on this stuff right here, but I don't really want to try to save the old steering wheel because the leather is torn over here. I may send it and get it recovered at some point, maybe. Let's see. I do have a custom one for this, which will go on after I reinstall this. So I'm just going to try to sand all this garbage off here. So as I'm sanding, look, part of the lots of nice spot there. Okay, if I started sanding it, then I can get that side, I gotta let it dry. Then I'm gonna hit this with an actual sander. Just gotta get all the crap off there. Just put on the 90s and I need this truck. I gotta hit it with automotive paint. May or may not come off, we'll see. I'll come back to that after that. So my next step is to pull the back of this cluster off. What a good part. There's something moving in there. I don't know what it is. If it's a dead mouse or what the heck, but I guess you could say we're about to find out. I got no words. It's disgusting. This is what this is. This is gross. Okay? Absolutely gross. Even in here, this is just awful. Good awful. Yeah. I don't know what to say. I just want to go home and see my mommy now. Anyways, I gotta vacuum this up, and I'm